21st century, it's rather surviving because we live in a very polluted area most of the time, living in big cities. The food is not having the highest quality all the time. The same with water. And to speak about these days is about technology time. So we are surrounded by electronic screens in all respects, in our hands, in our face. Social media is all over us. So our mental capacity to focus and concentration is dropping severely. For this situation, how do we use TimeWaver technology to mentally detox from this huge impact of screens and messages all the time coming?
That's a good point. I mean, we cannot avoid it, as you said. We live in a century where we are, even if we don't have a mobile phone, our neighbors have. So we are constantly in some electrosmog, if you want to say so.
Yes.
So it's maybe not the question how to avoid it, but to maybe use TimeWaver and technology to refocus, to reset, because recovered system is much more capable of being in that stressy situation. So
recovery.
I would say the reset or the recovery of a stressful or environment of electrosmog. This is where TimeWaver can help. Using TimeWaver Made, but also using TimeWaver Frequency Healy or Home with physical frequencies to reset the physical body.
Yes.
Is what I would rather recommend in this. So we have a lot of programs for Healy, also for home, using electrosmog or radiation, personal reset, positive thinking, stress reduction, and these programs I would specifically recommend to reset, because the impulse in the information field is a very subtle one. It might not be tangible for many. Some are sensitive to feel. Most of them will not feel a sending of TimeWaver Made, but you definitely feel the microcurrent frequency and treatment we use, TimeWaver Home or frequency or Healy. So that is a more tangible treatment impulse I would use to have a quick result in terms of reset.
Right.
And then in the long run, you can work with TimeWaver Made to refocus, to reconcentrate, to manage, to focus within so many different whatever life approaches to be able to keep the focus.
From your experience, you have met many clients over the past years. Is it, I would say, more efficient working with TimeWaver for personal issues or for professional, or for both in a combination all the time? How does it work better or more efficient?
It's a good question. I guess it is, for me, I have more success working on a personal level, because the person is especially if the person, as we said, is willing to change. Because if the person is willing to change, then TimeWaver is just speeding up the process very quick. Whereas if you work with a company, you have the influence of many, employees, people which might not be so much willing to change. So the success is slower in that. Of course, you have the CEO, decision-making people who have certain powers to change quicker things in the company, but still, because there are many people involved, the success is not so much tangible. It takes longer, and it is, let's say, reduced in the effect. So working one-on-one is the most effective constellation. So if you work on a company, you might not have the company in first hand, but you might have the CEO in first hand, because if that person is convinced to make the change, he can, by his enthusiasm, again, change the rest of the pyramid, top down, like that. So that is stronger in fact.
Good. To wrap up our conversation, I would ask you one final piece of question. What would be your, let's say, advice, top 5 advices to leave a mental health, to have a vibrant mental health?
That is a good point. Let's say, of course, using TimeWaver in the background, using maybe frequencies in the foreground on the physical level. But besides this, what is very important is to use some sort of meditation. We stick to what we call in our philosophy kirtan, which is sort of a mantra meditation, where you use instruments, but mainly your voice. And where you sit down in a group of people and using certain mantras, names of God, names of God mainly, which if chanted in a group, have a very strong effect on the minds of all the participants.
So more stronger than yourself meditating? Or?
Yeah, it is a bit like a group meditation. The quantity or the effect is multiplied if people do this in a bigger group.
So basically they come into resonance, and the effect is stronger on everybody.
Exactly, because also as you know, one match you can easily break. But if you have a bunch of matches, it is very hard to break. So the focus or the you would say the energy generated by a bigger group is affecting the individual stronger than if we try it ourselves. And on top, everybody has to struggle with his or her own mind. Yes. So to sit down and do hard work on our own, we all know it is sometimes a struggle. It works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. But if we are in a group, we are just more or less like being pushed on the wave, and that's a very easy way. So meeting up in groups is not just a social, but also meeting up in groups with a spiritual focus to really focus our mind on higher spiritual principles, on God, however you want to give it a name. But that is a very effective meditation, or you would say method, in the time we live, to refocus, to mentally detox in yourself.
So that's one big piece of advice. Do you have any other pieces?
Yeah, that would be one. Of course, what is also important to have the own introspection, to have one's own personal inner life active, because we tend to be active on the outside, we tend to communicate, but we lack usually the introspective approach. Because you all know when you are in a conversation and the other person doesn't realize that you're actually not part of the conversation anymore. And you wonder, why does that person not realize? Why is that person not introspective enough to realize, hey, maybe I'm confronting that person with something he doesn't even want to know. So what is lacking usually is that sort of introspection that I feel, how do I, confront others? How do I, what is it, what makes other people like me or dislike me? So if we, you would say, if we work on or if we train ourselves to have a healthy introspective approach in life, then this in my eyes is also very important to be able to be social again on the other side. So these two, being together in a group on the outside, but also having a healthy, you would say, spiritual cave life, that makes
a good, very strong
makes a very good balance.
For a good mental, vibrant health.
Definitely, because then we are focused, we can be centered, we can be concentrated, but we also can be social and spiritually active in groups. Because what Marcus said, like now on the stage, this is what we need in this time. We need to combine, to have a common spiritual goal and to work accordingly towards that goal.
Thank you very much, Michael, for your time. It has been a pleasure to meet you again.
It was my pleasure.